Muhammad's black ass was so close to being my baby daddy back then, I swear. I was so gone off of him that when I found out I was pregnant, although he was locked up, I was so close to keeping that baby so that we could still be. I probably would have if I ain't go waltzing, my fake grown in love ass, up to his mammy house one day. I went to give this bitch a sweatsuit I had spent my little summer job money buying him so she could add it to his care package she was dropping off at his visit. Only I got to meet his other baby's mother, Catrice, who had just had his son. We had words, came scarily close to fisticuffs, and I took that sweatsuit right back to the store. I hollered at a nigga from around my way that had been trying to fuck forever, got the abortion money and took care of that shit ASAP. Muhammad and I never spoke again until about 2 months ago. I was congratulating a mutual friend on her new job and he liked my response. When I saw who it was, I immediately blocked his ass, like nigga, please. I do not even give your lying ass permission to like shit I like. It's clear I was over the shit that happened back then, but still at first I wasn't even about to pretend I could be civil with this motherfucker. 2 days later, this nigga created a whole new page just to send me a message. And not just a what's up message either. It was long and detailed. He apologized for the way shit unfolded back then, blah blah blah, told me how miserable it was serving his time without me by his side. I figured as much because that bitch did exactly 1 year with him before she was pregnant by 2 other niggas. No typo. While my young ass kept it a buck with him until he played me. Had he not done that Bama ass shit back then, I probably would have done the whole bid with him and married his ass. I don't know if it was the lack of attention that I was getting from Damon's bitch ass or what, but I was so close to jumping out of the frying pan into the fire. Muhammad knew I was married, just as he was now. He ended up marrying some chick he met while he was down. She was a cute white girl, but I knew just as well as he did, and I'm sure she did too, that she had no clue what to do with that fine-ass specimen of a man she had. We started out with simple good morning messages and group conversations in the group with our former friends, but nowadays we sat around and texted and stayed in each other's inboxes all the fucking time. I would never tell him how rocky shit was at home, but he had me leaning so far over the edge every time we would get to kicking it about the past. One night while we were texting, I had got myself drunk and asked him for a dick pic. I don't know if the motherfucker was ass naked the whole time or if he had mastered the art of coming out his shit, getting brick and snapping pictures from the perfect angle, but what he sent me had me pacing the floor. His dick was all that I remembered and then some. It was a perfect shade of brown, with the thickness of a cucumber and the length of a ruler. I'm seriously telling you, my mouth started watering, and all I wanted to do was feel him inside of each hole I had. Okay, not each one, cause there was one I was not even about to experiment with. But the other 2? He could get it. He asked me to come over and I swear I was so wet I wanted to cry. There was a heartbeat in my panties as I texted him back, asking him for the address. His wife was an ER nurse and worked all night and slept all day. They had no kids, so he was home alone. He texted me back their address and all I could think about was going reverse cowgirl on his ass until I creamed all over that dick. My body was on fire as I took the stairs 2 at a time to get to the bathroom. I needed to hoe bathe before I went over there. I washed up in the sink real quick, hitting only the parts I needed him to kiss, and changed into a summer dress. No bra. No panties. I took off my wedding ring because, well, I didn't want to deal with the guilt I was sure to feel if I looked down at it during this encounter. I was literally running back down the stairs when I heard this tiny voice call to me from the top of the stairs. My son, who was a mere 6 years old, was standing at the top of the stairs, clutching his teddy bear and rubbing his sleepy eyes, asking me where I was going. I instantly felt like shit. Here I was, about to leave my baby home alone to get fucked. The bad part about it was, it wasn't like I forgot the child was home. I just thought he would stay asleep, you know. But no harm, no foul. I didn't go. And if his bitch-ass daddy was fucking me just a little, hooking up with that nigga would have never crossed my mind. From that night forward, I had been trying my damnedest to curve this nigga, but he knew how to play the game. Whenever I put his ass in the friend zone, he would be like, "You're right, my queen, and I apologize for even coming at you like that. Old boy really got him a good one, and I wish daily that I had done right by you." Then slowly but surely, he would text me, telling me how sexy I used to look coming all over his dick back in the day. I was so weak for this nigga, and it ain't make no sense because I knew it was wrong. I always said if it wasn't for my best friend Deyon, yeah, he'd be digging this pussy out every chance I got. But every time I felt myself about to break, I would call her, and we would get to talking about how that was a short-term fix for what was turning out to be a long-term problem. Deyon was my best friend, so she knew all about how Damon was all but running from this pussy and it was fucking with a bitch on all levels. Like, can you imagine the man that promised you forever leaving the room when you got naked because he had no desire to fuck you? That shit was hurtful. So Muhammad and the other niggas that constantly pushed up on me kept me sane because Damon's ass had a bitch thinking she was walking around looking like fucking Gordon or one of them other strong-faced ass trains on Thomas the Tank Engine. But I sat on the sofa, still naked, drinking straight from the bottle and messaging with Muhammad. I had sense enough to silence that annoying-ass buzzer that went off every time he responded to one of my messages because although I was sure my marriage was ending soon and very soon, I didn't want to get caught out there pissing in the wind. Muhammad was telling me about how he was about to head out to the studio. He had some beats on his chest that he wanted to get out and asked me did I want to swing through because we still hadn't hung out yet. I knew the temptation was too great and if we were in that studio together, we would be fucking on the soundboard 10 minutes after I arrived. I declined at first, telling him it was getting late and I was trying to make it to church in the morning since I hadn't been in a few weeks. I was waiting for him to respond so I could say goodnight. Then I was gonna take my ass upstairs and sleep in the guest room, but Damon and his dumbass mouth changed the course of my evening, once again, with a quickness. He came down the stairs heading to the kitchen. I was chill, but when I saw this nigga roll his eyes at me, I almost launched that whole fucking bottle at his ass. So that's what you do now? Sit around this motherfucker buck naked getting drunk and shit, huh? His bitch ass spat, looking at me in pure disgust. It's a problem with me being naked in my own home, Damon? Look, two things cause I'm tired. I just got off the road and I ain't for your bullshit and head games. Bullshit and head games? I jumped up and was across the room in that nigga's face before I even realized the shit. You can't even look at me naked anymore, Damon, and I'm the one on bullshit and head games? Yes. If that's all the fuck you can find to talk about, then yes, Asia. 'Cause I got so much more to worry about than laying between your stank-ass thighs. Wow. I stepped back in awe as the tears welled up in my eyes without my permission. It's somebody else, ain't it? What the fuck? Are you fucking retarded, Asia? Only motherfucker I'm seeing outside of your whining, nagging ass is the bill collectors. Remember the 2 mortgages? Those fucking car notes? Insurance? Healthcare? Private school tuition for junior? Loans for them motherfucking classes you still ain't finish. Remember all that shit, Asia? Of course I remember, Damon. How could I not? Well, it's hard for me to know that when everything out of your mouth got you sounding like a bitch in heat. We got real live problems and all you seem to worry about is fucking. Other couples have bills and issues too and that still doesn't stop them from having a sex life. Look at Deyon and Eric. Do you fucking hear yourself? You standing here telling me about some freak motherfucker's marriage and sex life? I guess I should start selling dope too, like Eric, and maybe you can start fucking bitches to pass the time. Then we can be just like them. He went in the kitchen leaving me standing there naked and alone. I was pissed on a whole new level now. Not only was he shitting on me, but shitting on the people I loved too because of his issue. Notice I didn't say mine because this pussy stayed wet and these legs still parted. I stood there counting backwards trying to calm myself down when he brought his sorry ass back out of the kitchen. Or better yet, why don't you fuck someone else? Ain't that what your ideal couple does constantly? So go ahead, Asia. Go on out there and fuck until your heart is content. Have a threesome, hell even a foursome, I truly don't give a fuck. I just want you the fuck away from me. You mean that, don't you, Damon? I asked as angry tears fell from my eyes, landing on my bare breast. The fuck you think, Asia? As hungry as I was, I don't even fucking want nothing to eat now. Damon shook his head at me in disgust one final time before walking back up the stairs into our bedroom and slamming the door. Stunned, still, I just stood there listening to the words my husband spoke to me bouncing off the walls in that room over and over. I just kept waiting to hear him come running back down the stairs and say he didn't mean the horrible words he had just spoken to me. I stood in the same spot for over 20 minutes, waiting for my husband to come and change the course of my night, but he never did. With a heart full of hurt and eyes full of tears, I climbed the stairs and went into the guest bedroom. There was a closet in there that I also used for my never-ending sea of clothes. I grabbed a summer dress and slipped it on with nothing on under it. I went into the bathroom and combed out my hair, and opted not to put on an ounce of makeup outside of a lip gloss in my purse. That was partially because I set my shit up in the master suite and I couldn't even bring myself to stand in the same space with my husband at this moment in time. I had been a good wife to him, and for the most part, I was an excellent mother to our son. For him to disregard my feelings like he did broke something in me. That something was my spirit. And to hear him tell me to fuck somebody else broke that thing called my heart. In my eyes, our marriage was over. Damon's words had just put the nail in the coffin, and the text I sent to Muhammad on my way out the door telling him I was on my way to see him lowered that bitch into the ground.